Hello, I am going live to talk about my Nutritional Therapy Association midterm and my practice. I'm going to wait till a few people come in. This introduction is for those who are watching the playback later. I know it's always weird. Hi, good morning. Hi, everyone. So it's been a long 4 days, but I'm very excited about the program, and I get a lot of questions about what program are you doing, and it's funny, I can like say something a million times, but I have to like repeat it because people are always then, I missed it, how did I miss it? So I am doing the Nutritional Therapy Association, is the institution that I'm getting my certification from. It is not like a 4-year college. I weighed the options of going back for my master's. But a lot of my friends who have masters in nutrition, they're still teaching a lot of conventional wisdom in 4-year colleges, unfortunately. So I wanted a program that I knew would really look at the benefits of ancestral health. And I really wanted a program that was up to date with the newest science, because as a lot of you know, if you're here, there's a lot of there are a lot of studies which are outdated. They're like 50 years or they're older. The Ansel Keys studies, which vilify fats in our diet. And unfortunately, they're still teaching that in colleges. They're still teaching that in med school. And, you know, that research takes a long time to kind of change the curriculum. But the Nutritional Therapy Association being not that old, but also being, their foundations are based on Weston A. Price. And Weston A. Price was this anthropologist, doctor, dentist that kind of went all over the world, and he was able to compare the diets of different people, different civilizations, living all over the place. And the time that he traveled and did these studies, there was the older generation that had eaten their native diet and had grown up eating unprocessed foods. And then there was a younger generation that had already like adopted westernized eating habits and, you know, more refined sugars and processed foods. And he was able to see this degeneration of health. And so his book is Nutrition and Physical Degeneration by Weston A. Price, and there's the Weston A. Price Foundation. And so a lot of the Nutritional Therapy Association practices are really founded on that, and then it's built from there. So that's one of the reasons I chose to go with this program specifically. Also, there's a ton of people who went through the program, and they work and practice in the keto space, paleo space, AIP, like Mickey Trescott and Angie Alt of Autoimmune Wellness. They're NTPs. Sean Miner is an NTP, Beth Manos, Allison Mars. So a ton of people that I love and respect in the work in this space, from keto to AIP and everywhere in between. This is the program that they've done. And I think the reason this program is chosen, it's because it really focuses on an ancestral approach to diet, nutrient density. And the scope of practice of an NTP is that we can help people find optimal health and balance in their life through nutritional therapy. And when nutritional therapy is tweaking your diet for your bio-individual needs, and maybe, if necessary, adding the adequate nutrition-based supplementation for that. And the cool thing about the nutritional, there's two programs you can do. There's nutritional therapy, there's nutritional therapy consultant and nutritional therapy practitioner, and one focuses more on like culinary, the food stuff, and like cooking for that kind of stuff and preparing meals, but I kind of know that. So what I wanted to do was the practitioner one, which we are taught the functional evaluation. We're taught to LNT, which is do lingual neural testing, testing certain supplements against deficiencies in people's bodies. We have a lot of tools at our disposal, from like, they have a lot of procedures in place. From interviews, there's a nutritional analysis questionnaire, and it's actually online, and there's this algorithm that kind of, and it corresponds with the signs and symptoms and analysis from a functional perspective, text that we also use in the program. And it's really cool because it's this really in-depth questionnaire, and you kind of circle 1, 2, 3, and there's all these different random questions, and most of the questions deal with symptoms and things that a lot of people deal with. Waking up in the middle of the night, flaky skin, belching, headaches, fatigue, your cycle, sugar cravings, salt cravings, and what those symptoms do, it kind of connects it back to the foundations. And it connects it back to whether it's immune or hydration or blood sugar regulation or upper GI or lower GI, your liver, your gallbladder. And then what we do is once we have all this information, which we get from what you give us about your symptoms, the food you're eating, your habits, we're able to look at it all together and say, okay, from the data that I've collected, these seem to be the deficiencies in your diet or the foundations that we need to work on. And then from there, we can further test those theories against the functional evaluation, which of course, the functional evaluation, I need to see like people in person because I can like touch you to perform it. But even without that part of the program, I think there's still just a lot of value. So it's been very cool. What the curriculum is a 9-month program, and you do most of all the coursework online, but there are 3 workshops throughout the program. So after the first term, there's a 3-day workshop, and you learn the functional evaluation, and you learn to test the supplements against symptoms and see what works out. And the great thing about the supplements is that even though it's easier to you can even test like water or salt or a certain food against a symptom or an area with a deficiency. And the cool thing about that is that even if someone says, I don't want to take any supplements, because I agree, I think that sometimes they can be therapeutic, but oftentimes you can get that nutrition, that specific nutrition from food. So we can look at the supplement and say, okay, what does this have? Is it vitamin B? Is it vitamin C? Is it a glandular one like adrenal? And then just add those things to your diet. So it's a really comprehensive program. The way the structure works is that the nutritional therapy program has their foundations, which are really important, and I think often overlooked when people are troubleshooting with health. I made these mistakes myself where I kind of changed my diet, did an overhaul. I put my autoimmune disease in remission. So I was like, well, I'm good. I healed my gut. But I wasn't looking at north to south process. I was kind of skipping over things. So I decided to do this big overhaul, and then very acutely I started kind of supporting specific symptoms in my body without really having a global perspective. And one of the biggest things with the Nutritional Therapy Association is we look at healing north to south, because everything starts kind of with it through the digestive system. So I think digestion is something that's severely overlooked when it comes to healing through food. I want to have some water. And so I really love that their foundations are digestion, nutrition, hydration, fatty acid balance, blood sugar regulation, and mineral balance. And so all those are the foundations that you need to have in place working for everything else to fall in line. And one of the things, and a lot of you know this, that I'm currently on a SIBO protocol. So I've put my autoimmune disease in remission. I was able to lose a ton of weight. I was able to really change my life. And I had kind of a stall in my healing. And when I started troubleshooting through what I learned through this program and working with my doctor, I realized I had small intestine bacterial overgrowth, which is how did that even happen? And it all came down to me completely overlooking the north to south process and overlooking digestion. And so I had low stomach acid, which of course let pathogens and bacteria get through my digestive system and into my gut. So it can be so simple. It can be so as basic as that. But there's just conversations that aren't really being had out there so far. So it's really exciting that they're giving us the tools to help people troubleshoot. And we don't prescribe medicine. We don't diagnose or treat. Obviously, we always whatever your doctor said to do, you do that. But we can help support your lifestyle nutritional choices to really reach optimal health, which is just so cool. And I'll share with you a little anecdotal story about my own experience with this, because at each workshop, as we learn to perform the functional evaluations and do the lingual neural testing, which is how we test supplements against deficiencies, we've kind of been just doing this and my peers and I have been practicing with each other as if we were clients. And then Justin's my other client, my other practice client. And so it's all about practice, and it's all about practical application, this program. They really want you to like learn by doing, which is really exciting because I feel like we really get to run into real life troubleshooting with this. So with me in my first workshop, everything that came up in my lab work with my doctor came up in my functional evaluation at the nutritional therapy workshop. And then everything that my doctor and Dr. Becky Campbell, my functional doctor, that we work together to say, okay, these are the supplements you're going to take for your SIBO protocol. These are the supplements you're going to take to support your system through the SIBO protocol, and bring your digestion back to balance and get your stomach acid back to normal levels. We tested that through the lingual neural testing in the functional evaluation of my nutritional therapy workshops. And it was spot on. It was like perfect match. It was so exciting and very validating, because the process can be a little like woo-woo if you don't fully understand it. There has to be like some level of faith there if you don't completely understand the science of it, because a lot of this is, it's not based on Western medicine. It's based on like older medicine before they had like, before they had sonograms and MRIs and all that stuff. This is how people would kind of do checkups and see what was going on in your body without actually looking. And then this workshop, after I've kind of already been taking all these supplements and on this protocol for several weeks, we learned the foundations the first time. So I learned the digestion, the blood sugar regulation, the adrenals, and sugar handling. And we learned how to do the evaluations on that, and we learned the supplementation support for that. For this workshop, we learned the consequences. So we learned how to test the thyroid, the immune system, allergies, histamines, cardiovascular, mineral, and detoxification pathways. And so what was really interesting is that when we got to that part, the immune part, I told my partner, I said, I'm taking so many things for my digestion and right now, I'm not going to take any other supplements but I would love to test the supplements with my protocol to heal my digestion. I want to test that against my imbalances in my immune system, because the theory is, of course, you heal north to south. So if I'm healing my digestion, will that resolve the immune issues? Yeah, and it did. It tested, like it went from a point in my body that was like my thymus point, because your thymus is a really huge part of your immune system, where your T cells kind of go to learn what to do, right? And so that was a very sensitive point for me. It was like a 10 on the scale of like tenderness. I'm like, ow. And when we tested the hydrochloric acid and the beta TCP, which are these two supplements for blood sugar regulation and digestion I'm taking with my meals, it completely went away. And it was, so I was just completely blown away by how, by truly addressing the foundations of health, it can then have it has that trickle down effect. And we often overlook things as basic as digestion and hydration when it comes to being able to absorb and assimilate nutrients, when it comes to hormone balance. I mean, hydration is huge for hormone health, because you need that water. You need to be hydrated to get the communication between the hormones. It's just, everything's so connected. Yes, Amanda, I love this stuff. I just every time I'm there and I'm immersed in it, I just wish I could start practicing right now and seeing everybody. But it's very reaffirming that this is definitely, that the program works. Like the policies, the procedures, the tools that they're giving us to practice as nutritional therapy practitioners, they work. And it really is, when you address the foundations of health, when you address nutrition, digestion, hydration, fatty acid balance, when you address minerals, it's going to fix all the things. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? Because so we get these case studies, and case studies are a big part of, like, we did a lot of these over the weekend, and the third quarter is going to be a lot on case studies. And, you get this paper, and it's like, it's always like a fake person, right? Like, one was Sally So Sad, which is kind of a funny name. And so Sally, I forgot her details exactly, but like the last one we did, it was someone who had I see the interstitial cystitis, and they didn't like to cook, and they didn't eat fish or pork, and they only ate chicken and beef, and they were on a dozen medications, and they hated drinking water, and they were scared to pee because it was painful, and they ate potatoes but not other vegetables. It was like this worst case scenario, right, where you're reading this and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, this, like, and you could say like, this person just needs to eat vegetables or eat organic and go to Whole Foods, but the way they're teaching us is like, you have to meet people where they are. And so really looking at this person, looking at the foundations and saying, being able to really take a step back and say, there's no judgment, there's no, like, everyone go paleo overnight. That's not going to happen. But being able to look at a case study and work with, we worked in groups, and it was just so great seeing everyone's ideas and the different groups sharing their ideas. But of course, hydration was a huge thing for this particular case study. But you can tell someone to drink water till they're blue in the face and they're not going to. But everyone had these fantastic ideas of giving her super easy soup recipes, or helping her. One idea which was really cool was, if she likes to eat out, how about we look at the menus in her favorite restaurants and help her make better choices when she goes to those restaurants? And I was like, that is that's genius. And that's such a fantastic first step, because sometimes people just need that first step to then feel better, to then get the momentum to make the other changes. And so it was really cool. And it just made us so exciting so excited to help people. So I know although the amazing women in my class are also super excited to get out there and start helping other people. And we kind of already are in our communities and with our families, but the Nutritional Therapy Association, I'm just more and more, I fall in love with the curriculum and with I really feel that they've figured it out in a very doable way. It's not something that's like everyone's going to have to do these like crazy, it's not like a crazy protocol. I'm not going to put everyone on these detox things, or like, it's not about drinking celery juice every day or going on like a crazy meal plan or elimination diet. It's really just meeting people where they are, working in phases to layer the changes, but working on them slowly and really making it doable for people. And it all goes down to addressing the foundations, which are so important. Like something as simple as hydration can change someone's life. Like if someone isn't properly hydrated, doesn't have mineral balance, and isn't absorbing, and has, an electrolyte deficiency, like seriously, like an iodine deficiency, will like mess someone up pretty seriously, but it's something that's so common. And so there's tests for all of this, and we have the tools to be able to say, hey, I can tell that there's this deficiency going on. We can just remedy this through a completely safe means and easy, and then see where that goes and build upon that. So your doctor said she didn't believe in gut health. Holy mole. Yeah, gut health is very important. Like 70% of our immune system is in our gut. Our gut, also along with our liver, is what conjugates like the hormones that we're done using and gets rid of them. So having gut health is very important. Anyway, so what does this mean for the future of the Castaway Kitchen? I will be graduating from this program in June, and after acing my midterm, I'm very certain I can ace my final too. So definitely was a good confidence boost to do well on the exams, and I know I'll get through the rest of the program. So what does this mean for the Castaway Kitchen? I am going to continue blogging and giving free recipes online. I'm going to continue creating meal plans to sell and writing books and supporting brands I love. So none of that's going to change as far as what you get here. And I am already working on my second book, so that'll come out in 2020. But what is cool is that this summer I'll start offering one-on-one services to work with people. And so that'll be either in person if you're local to the Virginia, DC area, or it'll be online. And when we're online, we can't do the functional evaluation, but we have a lot of other tools at our disposal. And that's pretty cool. And on my website right now, there's are you ready to thrive, and set sail on your wellness journey today? And there's a button that says, let's go. And right now that leads you to a page that just talks about the Weston A. Price Foundation and the importance of whole and processed foods and healthy fats. And it kind of has a link that's like, is paleo right for you? Is keto right for you? Is AIP right for you, right? Because I'm not about one diet for everybody, because it doesn't work that way. But that button will eventually evolve to be able to book me for a consultation. And so what I think I'm going to do is, it really takes time to affect change, especially when we're going to be working on these foundations that have that trickle down effects to support the body as a whole. So I really like the idea. One of the practitioners, one of our instructors, does like 3-month packages. So it's like, you can do a 20-minute consultation call, but if you book her, if you're going to work with her, it's a 3-month commitment. And you get a lot of support during those 3 months, like weekly calls, you get emails. Sometimes there's like a lot of in-person meetings. She like offers a lot of things, like Whole Foods tours, like take you grocery shopping. So, you know, possibilities are endless within those 3 months, but, and depending on the client's needs. But I really like that idea of you have this, we're gonna do this together, and we're both gonna commit to each other and to work together. So I'm very excited about this. I'm going to be typing up a blog post with details on the nutritional therapy program. I'm going to link some of the books that we use in our studies, which are available on Amazon. I mean, Nourishing Traditions is one of them, which I know a lot of people have read. The Omnivore's Dilemma, Big Fat Surprise, Primal Blueprint, Nutrition and Physical Degeneration. But they're just really good books that if you want to start learning on your own some things, it's just a good place to start. Another really good book that we read, which I've talked about a million times, is Why Stomach Acid is Good for You. But I'll write a blog post. I'm going to link all the books. And just so you have the information that you want. And also, if I'm not in your area, because you're not in Northern Virginia or DC, and you want to find a nutritional therapy practitioner in your area, the NTA website, nutritionaltherapyassociation.org, or you can just Google Nutritional Therapy Association. They have a list of practicing NTPs all over the country. They're everywhere. Denver, Colorado, I mean, everywhere. We're all over the place. And you can find one in your area and find one that's practicing, that sees people in person. So even if it's not with me and you think this is a good choice for you, the great thing about a nutritional therapy practitioner is that, no, it's obviously it's not a doctor, but it's like a nutritionist that's going to have a holistic, whole food kind of ancestral approach. Bio individual is going to work for you. It's not going to be like, oh, this person only does keto, or this person only does AIP, or this person only does, you know, whatever. It's not like everything that we do is about finding what's right for your body. And you can find a nutritional an NTP in your area to work with in person. And there's a lot that do online work remotely as well. So I think that yeah, I think it's a really exciting time for the Castaway Kitchen. So I'll be doing everything I still do, but then implementing this kind of other part of my business on the side, because I want to go from, hey, I was able to heal my body, I was able to change my life, and I was a restaurant chef, so I love creating recipes for people, and I will always love doing that, but I really love that I can now help people one-on-one to heal as well, and with a super personalized approach. Blood sugar regulation is a huge, I would say blood sugar regulation and digestion are like always at the top. Like if we're gonna start working on your overall health, that's usually where we start. And sometimes you need to regulate blood sugar before you can get digestion working properly. And sometimes you need to regulate digestion because blood sugar regulation starts in the HPA axis. So if you're working north to south, that can be a problem. Or if your blood sugar dysregulation is more in your liver gallbladder, then you would maybe want to start with digestion. But either way, they've really given us all the tools and are really teaching us on like how blood sugar regulation really like directly affects adrenals. And in turn, it really has like this ripple effect on the endocrine system and on our hormones. And but that's like a lot of people, and especially I know in this space and from just the communication that I have with all of you, there's so much focus on like, especially with thyroid or like the endocrine system. It's like, hey, we're going to have this super targeted approach to fixing this part of my body or this system. But we're skipping all the steps, and we're trying to like come in on the side and say, fix this. Or, you know, well, I guess thyroid here, but, you know, like if you have something as, you know, not simple, but as common as low stomach acid, and that's causing digestive dysfunction in so many levels. Or, you know, you can have like people who have a hard time digesting fats, like a lot of times that happens because if you had a low fat diet for a really long time, like your body's not like it's your bile becomes like thick and viscous and it doesn't function properly. And so having to remedy those imbalances first will then have a cascade effect on balancing the overall system. And I think that it's such a sound approach. And doable, and I think it has lasting effects. So I'm thrilled to be halfway through this program and excited to start practicing soon. Just a few short, I mean, June will be here before we know it. So yeah, I'm gonna save this video. It'll be here for 24 hours. I'm gonna download it and put it on my YouTube channel. And you can always reference back to it if you want to learn more about the NTA program. 9-month online program, 3 in-person workshops. And just so much information and so many resources at our disposal. So I'm super stoked about it, and I'm excited to be able to work with some of you in that capacity in the future. So anyways, I am also going to take the rest of the day to chill because I am super burnt out from 4 days of 9-hour days, and I was doing functional evaluations and people were doing them on me, and like I touched and I was touched and I talked and I was studied and I was stressed and commuting, and I'm burnt out but excited at the same time. So I hope you guys have a really good day, and yeah, stay tuned guys. I'm super stoked about all this. Okay, bye. All right, I'm gonna stand on Facebook first.